Day once again. Welcome back. It's Tom Kissack returning to continue our language learning adventure together, using Jonathan's Tales as a resource par excellence. Today, and I'm sliding already, I have every good intention to turn instantly to the notation mentioned in the last video, now showing pictorially on slide 1. Lo and behold. What an absolutely bizarrely opaque phrase, don't you think? I'm actually deeply enamored with this beautiful phrase, and especially its history. I will weakly declare in absoluteness, I will not in the future indulge in dilly-shallying or dilly-dallying. Nothing now will I brook to delay my looking at the beautiful literary gems in the Parrot and the Woodpecker. But my readers are probably unconvinced. This stout and rather bold assertion, and yet to date I have already, by my narration, introduced multiple idioms worthy of our attention. But in my defence is that all language ensnares me. Now you will know my weakness. Do indulge me a little bit. So to business. In that business to look at notation 10. But all that I have aforementioned means only one thing. I'm definitely by indulging in video narrations myself and hoisted by my own petard. However that may be, we can and must acknowledge that language in narration predictably arises and is important to our essential desire to become excellent conversationalists. The slide you now see is a consequence of a week elapsing. The need to say we must firstly retrace and recap what our main aim is, and that is amply commented upon in this slide. To look at Jonathan's Tales as a rich repository of linguistic treasures through the 78 notations in the Parrot and the Woodpecker. So today's opportunities will focus on the following idioms, sayings, etc. Lo and behold, if there was someone, par excellence, shilly-shallying and dilly-dallying, do not brook something, voiced by one's own petard, tongue-in-cheek, to wrap something up, to speak for itself, to break cover, and to lay everything to waste. Notwithstanding the now other person's phrases of interest arising in the video narration, I, in saying that, intentionally tongue-in-cheek, maybe what a policeman might comment with a crime scene. It is, by excellence, shilly-shallying, dilly-dallying, to build something, and to be hoisted by one's own petard. There's about a 6 now, tongue-in-cheek. I promise to return to these delicious sayings, but the book notation first, mentioned in the last video on reviewing note 9 to risk life and limb. Also introduced 2 other notes on that same sentence. Note 10, lo and behold, and note 11, to cross somebody. We must first return to the story narrative to refresh our memory on contextualizing these idioms. So here it is. In such pursuits, they regularly risk life and limb. But lo and behold, anyone crossing them, all before them were terrorized without mercy. Absolutely everyone they met. So let's deal with each of those last 2 notes in turn. Well, first, what about this almost incomprehensible odd phrase in note 10 showing on the slide? Some clever souls might have an inkling it was a warning. Lo and behold, the notation explanation at the back clarifies the phrase. Lo in the expression probably originated from the shortening of the word look, commonly seen in Middle English texts. Its presence in literature can be traced to at least as early as the 18th century. The literary meaning of the expression is "look and see." Do savour the other two examples of this phrase on this slide. Finally, finally, to wrap up this richly seen sentence, note 11, to cross someone. This of the many we have reviewed almost speaks for itself. The review at the bookend reveals to cross somebody is to defy, challenge, or frustrate someone. I wonder if you guessed it correctly. Additional uses of this phrase can be viewed on this slide. Be read at your leisure. I must at this stage confess, so many confessions. This work we have together, speaking and explanation, so often words begin to run away, claiming a life of their own. What I mean by this, if you let a free conduit to things deep within you, the wellspring of your own essences and knowledge in the many delightful phrases tend to quite pop up like a jacking in a box, boing, revealing many, many things. This is why we continue our journey together. We will unavoidably be led up uncharted garden paths and into beautiful cul-de-sacs where lies rich linguistic entertainment. So, following in the spirit of what I've just said, we passed eight sayings, phrases worthy of our attention, all arising from a video narration. First is the French phrase par excellence. So, par excellence is a French phrase that literally translates to by way of excellence. In English, it signifies the highest degree of excellence, beyond comparison, and preeminent. Other examples of par excellence are there. I'll read one of them. She's a chef par excellence, known for her exquisite dishes and culinary creativity. Now, interestingly, the next two idioms, but ever so cute phrases, very similar meanings. So look at dilly-shallying and dilly-dallying. These two separate phrases, as I said, have similar meanings. Both phrases refer to a state of indecision or procrastination. When someone is hesitant to make a decision or take action, they convey a sense of wasting time, of being indecisive. What me? I protest. And other examples of this sayings, in essence, procrastination, please do have a look at your leisure. The slide refers to not brook something. To not brook something means to refuse to tolerate or accept something, especially a difference of opinion or intention. It's a formal way of saying will not allow or will not stand for. Here the pirate is not accepting the other's white flag and surrender. What did he say? Nope. Slide 12 gives two other examples of this uncompromising stance in words. Read them at your leisure. And what a beautiful phrase we see before us now, wasted by one's own petard. This means to be harmed or defeated by a scheme of action that was intended to benefit oneself or harm another. It's a metaphorical expression often used to describe someone whose own machinations ultimately backfire, leading to their own downfall. The image descriptively explains this, showing a rebellious pirate that is getting his just rewards after trying to assume command of the captain's ship. He's walking the plank. Here we have two more examples of this interesting phase to be savoured at your leisure. Tongue in cheek is a rather humorous, diverting saying. Tongue in cheek means something is said or done in a humorous and ironic way, but not meant to be taken literally or seriously. It's a way of being playful or sarcastic without intending to be hurtful or deceitful. Here the pirate saying to Polly, and in the narration, uh, in the book's narration, it does explain that the pirate was having a joke with Polly, saying, "There's no food on this island. What's on the menu?" The menu today is Parrot. And there's two further examples of tongue-in-cheek. Again, because this video is running a little long, I guess you need to read them yourself. Verse 17 delivers an explanation for the phrase wrapping up something in a metaphorical sense, to finish or complete a task, activity or process successfully. It implies a satisfactory conclusion, often used when something has been successfully brought to an end. Of course, wrapping up could be wrapping up a present. In this case, it's a metaphor. And here's a couple of other examples of wrapping up. You take the opportunity to read them to embed this meaning in your memory. Slide 19 gives an explanation of somewhat odd phrase, speaking for itself. Let's have a look at it. Something is so clear and obvious that it doesn't need an explanation or further explanation. It's often used to describe facts, evidence, or a situation where the meaning is readily apparent. This speaks for itself, millions. He's talking about the treasure. Slide 20 offers other examples of speaking for itself, which I'll defer to your reading. But I want to have a look at one last notation, actually two in the same sentence. Note 12, breaking cover, and note 13, laying everything to waste. Let's look at the narrative to aid an initial understanding. Here is the text. Stealthily exploiting this small wood as a temporary concealment, pirates crept silently up to what they thought was an unsuspecting town and its hapless inhabitants. Finally breaking cover, the marauders raced up the main street, intent on plundering, pillaging, and laying waste to everything. For a little more added context, I'll continue the story. Feathers began squawking. Feathers is the parrot, squawking at the top of his voice. "Shoot! Shoot! Take everybody out, me hearties!" Note 12 at the book's end explains if you break cover, you leave a place where you have been hiding or sheltering from. Tack, usually to run to another place. And there's two further examples of the phrase. I like this one. The spy decided it was time to break cover and reveal his true identity to the team. And what about note 13? Some might deduce this note as all the markings of what some see as a pirate's inveterate and irresponsible behavior. Laying everything to waste is reviewed as to destroy or ruin something completely or utterly. And there's a couple more examples of this phrase, laying waste. For instance, his obsession with perfection was laying everything to waste, and he neglected relationships and personal well-being. That reminds me of a phrase which I maybe talk about later. Perfection is the enemy of good. Fabulous phrase. But we'll address that next video. So that's it for today, me hearties. Stepping into the swing of a pirate's vernacular. See you next week. Until then, it's Tom Kissack signing off, wishing everybody a wonderful time in the interim. Bye bye for now.